to you about the new moon that we will be having on the 9th or 10th of July, depending on where you are on the planet. Now, this new moon at 18 degrees of Cancer brings us into a Cancer energy, new beginning, new intentions, a new seed to be planted in the area of Cancer in our lives. Now, Cancer energy is the mother archetype. It has to do with our homes, our family, our roots, our past, our childhood. It has to do with memories. It has to do with subconscious patterning that we've learned as children in order to cope with whatever circumstances or situations we had to deal with. It also involves parents and your original family, the place where you were born and where you grew up. So even if your home is now maybe in a different country, this could also bring up things in regards to where you came from originally. It also has to do with protection and nurturing and our innermost emotional needs in regards to the family dynamic as well. So we can very much with this moon expect to be emotionally triggered in some way or feel very strong emotional ties to certain events that occur. It's a beautiful moon as well as a very power-packed moon because this new moon is opposite Pluto. Not exact yet, but it is opposite Pluto, and that brings up power struggles in regards to the nurturing of that which you need emotionally and possibly others. But it definitely brings up relationship dynamics, and then it also in this new moon we have the sun, of course, because the sun and moon are together at the same degree in Cancer. So the sun here helps us to bring the head and heart together. It also helps us to really tune in to what we need to find joy. What do we need to make us get back into that creative energy? We have both Venus and Mars currently in Leo, and they are being disposited over by the sun, which is conjunct the moon in Cancer right now. So we are dealing with relationships, Mars and Venus. We're dealing with love relationships. We're dealing with our masculine and feminine tendencies within ourselves. And we're really finding out what it is that we need to bring that spark back, or to start something new, or we're starting to really get in touch with our emotions, this Cancer energy, and what we really need, how we want to be nurtured. We're kind of fine-tuning things because this 18th degree is also connected to specificity. It's also connected to a renewal of sorts in relationships, or a cutting of cords. So there are changes and decisions that need to be made that will be coming up with this new moon. And we also have Mars and Venus opposite Saturn right now, that's in Aquarius. So a lot of the energy that we could be experiencing during this new moon is we can experience sudden breakthroughs, also because Uranus in Taurus is in a sextile configuration with this sun and moon in Cancer, and it sort of creates a release energy of some kind, letting some air out, and also releasing a certain amount of pressure, and allowing us to really let loose with that Uranian energy and bring in fast and quick breakthroughs of sorts. So what I would say is that in many cases, this new moon can bring up events or power struggles in relationships. This can involve the home and family. It can involve responsibility with Saturn there. And there's a need for compromise and a need for adjustment between your needs and other people's needs, or your needs and your partner's needs. And also, where have you over-compromised? And where do you need to level out the power between the two parties, so to speak, or the two situations, or whichever areas of your life you're being affected by with this? And you want to look at your cardinal signs. So you want to look at Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn, and of course Aries. So you want to look at those signs, and pretty much from about 13 degrees to about 23 degrees, you want to have a look at that. You also want to look at your fixed signs, the middle degrees of your fixed signs, which is Leo, Scorpio, Aquarius, and Taurus. So you want to look at those as well, because they're all being affected in some way. And if they're on angles, or there's planets or points there, you can sort of observe and see how this transpires for you. But ultimately, this is the type of moon that offers a reignition of sorts, of passion, of joy. There can be unexpected connections with others. There can be unexpected breakthroughs, breakdowns. So we want to be aware that there can be power struggles, but there's things coming up from the past. There can even be people coming back from the past, or a situation that's coming back around, that's giving, and you're having another look at it. You are seeing the dynamics more clearly now, and there can be a tendency to want to hold on to something that needs to be let go of. And not necessarily even that it's permanently something that you lose, but chances are you will be giving up certain things in order to create a balance in this polarity between Pluto and the Sun and the Moon, and then also Venus and Mars opposite Saturn, and this Uranus energy, and also the trine to Neptune that this Sun and Moon is making. There's an intuitive, divine connection here. We are being divinely led, and we need to pay attention to our intuitive side, and we need to spend time in prayer to really allow ourselves to become aware of God's guidance through the decisions that we're making right now, because they are important with Saturn there, and they will have long-term consequences. And this is really getting to that specific list of things that we want in our relationships, in our home life, between the relationship between work and home, the relationship between partners, family members. What is it of the past that we need to let go of, even in our own patterning, and how we see relationships, how we deal with financial issues, how we deal with power struggles in general? How do we balance it out, and how can we turn it into a healing journey for us, and really be able to put things that belong in the past, and and actively recognizing when those patterns pop up in us, and how we consciously can transmute that into a more balancing, harmonious method, which will create more harmonious relationships. And when we find ourselves holding on to people, to situations, to places, to certain ways of expecting things from our relationships, when we tend to let our grip go a bit, it will come to us more naturally, and it will flow more naturally. This is really a moon that is telling us to go in a more simplified manner forwards, and to uncomplicate our lives as much as we can. We might be faced with some guilt or some fear in some cases, but we have the courage and the passion now with Mars and Venus and Leo to really put into action what it is that we want for our lives now. What is aligning with who we are? Where have we come from? Where are we going? What are we consciously deciding and intuitively aligning in our lives right now? And what are we deciding to leave behind? And what are we taking with us? And it can, like I said, it can bring in new people into your life. It can be even people that's just been right there, and or a connection or information of some kind that has been right there all along, and suddenly you have this breakthrough moment where you realize, wow, you know, I really do like this person. Or it can also be, like I said, this moon can bring on breakups or breakthroughs, or a renewal of doing a relationship with in a different way, in a new inspired, passionate way, and giving it a sort of rebirth. There's an intense creative and reproductive energy with this moon as well. And be careful though, if you are meeting people for the first time, to really think about the actions you take as well, because they can have long-term effects. Like, this is the kind of energy that you can get pregnant quite easily. And if it's somebody you've just met and you're having a one-night stand, you could possibly end up pregnant. But basically, a lot of the decisions that we're making now, we want to stop and think it through. We can be triggered emotionally, and in regards to also abandonment and fear of being alone, type of wounding. And so we want to watch for these things, and where are they coming from, and how can we move past that into healthier relationships, because these types of things affect our relationships. And with Venus and Saturn here involved as well, we can be dealing with loneliness in some ways. We can be dealing with love relationships that we want to move forward passionately, but we're being slowed down, or there's separations that we might find uncomfortable, or we're afraid to make them because we want to people please, and we want to make and we kind of like the way the relationship looks with Venus and Mars in Leo right now as well, and with the Sun and Moon in Cancer. We can very much want to sort of stay in that perfect picture, when really deep down, you know, there's things churning and saying, no, this is not aligning with you. And where do you need to not care about what others will say and what others will think, and really focus on what you really need to be nurtured. And Mercury is also, of course, just come out of shadow, and Mercury is at 29 degrees with this new moon, which is a critical degree and very important. So I think a lot of the things we've been going through since May, a lot of the confusion we've had over a certain area of our lives, especially in relationships and communication, and the important choices that we've had to make. I really think that with this new moon, there's going to be a lot more decision making in regards to these issues and these different paths that we've been looking at, and choices that we've had to weigh, and how it's all being aligned, and all these eclipses that we've had, it's all aligning us to our higher good, regardless of how painful it is. And there is an amount of pain that goes with that, an amount of wounding and triggering that goes with that, because we need to be triggered to know where the wound is, so that we can heal it. And every person, every situation that comes into our lives is there to help us grow and move forward, as long as we can see it and remind ourselves that it's not happening to us, but it's happening for us. And so I also think that with this Mercury at 29 degrees, there's going to be a lot of things coming to light, more understanding of a new perspective as well, that's going to come from these breakups, breakthroughs, or recommitments that we're making, compromises that we're making, and so forth. And because we are having to balance this energy between us and them, or me and you, and the power dynamic there, and how things are aligning. And this new moon is also in the nakshatra of Purnavasu, and it basically means returning light, and it's like a new birth in an area of your life. To me, I feel it's not necessarily something brand new, but it's more something that's coming back around, or something that's getting new life put into it. And I think that the flowers are about to bloom in that area and have room to grow. So if this is maybe a relationship that needed some new love, to remind itself of where it's come from, then this is the moon for that, making things good again. It's also, in this nakshatra, is also ruled by Jupiter, and so that makes it extremely expansive and opportunistic in a positive way, in many cases. And then, of course, depending on where this is in your chart, this is a new beginning or a new start of something that you're familiar with, or someone that's been there, or that's coming back around. It is a very powerful moon because the moon is in rulership in Cancer, and the sun is there with her, and it rules this Mars and Venus, and these two houses are highly impacted. So look at where Cancer and Leo falls in your charts. And I wanted to read to you the Sabian, the inside degrees of 29 degrees of Gemini, because that's where Mercury is right now. And I feel that Mercury, even though Mercury is not in Cancer right now, it's about to enter Cancer, and it's bringing with information and connections, and a connecting to what we've been dealing with since May especially. So there's a definite connection to that. So I want to read to you, it says, a garden planted solely with shade plants offered the unique chance to take any given side of self and world to its absolute limit and beyond, scouting out ahead in whatever direction suits your fancy, saturated with all the props and accompanying attitudes and gestures of your chosen tangent, fabulously alive to your fantasy, your obsession, your specialized style and manifestation, extravagantly lavish in letting yourself go to decadent and breakthrough places. No conscience, no ethic, no restriction, exploring to the hilt on one side of things, and hoping to wear it out if it is limiting, or to bring it back alive for everybody to get in touch with if it proves to be relevant and enduring and cosmically right on. So I think that's very appropriate for this new moon. I also think we can find ourselves really wanting to go home, in a sense, to reconnect to those childhood connections, and go and remind ourselves of what we really want and what we really need. And I believe Saturn is also reminding us that we are in a time dimension. We don't have all the time in the world, and we do need to look at where we are and where we've come from and what we want our relationships to be like going forward, and our what kind of long-term possibilities are involved, and consequences are involved, and commitments are involved with this new moon and these decisions that we're making right now. Because the consequences, or even if it's a decision that you might feel or you're getting in touch with feelings that you feel like you can't really lay it out on the line, like you even though there is this release energy, and you really have the courage and the passion, and you don't want to put up with any more of this or of that energy, there is that release with Uranus that can really help things to move suddenly into the direction that it needs to go. Maybe you've been struggling to say what you need to say, or to really end something, or begin something new, or make a decision on something. And by the time this moon comes to Pluto around the 23rd of July, if you haven't made necessarily a decision by then, it'll probably happen for you. So there's definitely movement for the rest of this month, beginning with this new moon. There's action being taken. We're following our hearts. We're listening to what we really need, and we are making changes, big life changes, in regards to our future. So take the time to really think things through before you act. Be careful of saying things you don't need to say, but saying what you do need to say. Be careful of not revealing too much information until you've really committed to a certain decision before you start, speaking about it. But that is it for this new moon. I thank you for watching. May the sun shine bright on you this day. Until next time.